Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome to part two of my top comic writers video. The next person up is Robert Kirkman. Robert Kirkman is doing such a great job in Walking Dead right now, and the reason why I think he's a top influential writer is that he's taking a genre, horror comics, and making them so that they're not all about blood and guts and just tearing people apart. He's putting uh very multi-layered, very um, deep characters in a book that shouldn't have that much depth in a character, that much uh, personality in characters in a horror story. He's setting a huge standard in horror comics. It's just comics in general, where you know the way they should be written. The more multi-layered, more humanized characters in comic books. But he also is influential because of basically he's mentioned before where, and then Blows Up dude had mentioned this too, is that he's like, you don't have to work for Marvel and DC, and go do what you want to do. Be influential by yourself. You don't need Marvel and DC to help you make a name for yourself. Which I kind of agree with as well, but I also don't agree with is that sometimes writers need a little bit more help to put their name out first as far as the big two goes, and then maybe if you want to do some your own work, go do that. But I think you need to establish yourself first before you can do that. Next up is J. Michael Stradinsky, JMS. He's on here because he just makes great work, but he's also established evolutionized one of the biggest characters in comics, Spider-Man. What he did, he evolutionized his powers. Uh, you know, Made him just basically an incredibly fun character to read, and more just more enjoyable to read. He's also done some other great work in Silver Surfer Requiem and in Thor. Oh man, his work in Thor, it was just fantastic. Um, he made Thor more accessible. A lot of times when I would read Thor, back when I was little, I couldn't really attach myself to Thor because he was a god, and it wasn't, he just didn't seem human enough. Um, but now Thor now is more of a realistic character. Granted, he's still God, and you can't really relate to him, but he just made him much more of an identifiable character, and much more of a that's more easy accessible character. He's done influential work. One More Day, which he kind of did, kind of didn't, but that's up to debate. Definitely influential though. Next writer up is Ed Brubaker. Now he's on here because of what he's done in Captain America. He basically made Captain America a staple in the Marvel universe. He killed him off, but he brought him back. But it's debatable whether he actually that was his idea or not. Which I don't think it was. Maybe it was someone else. But anyway, he made Captain America very influential, very just unbelievable. Everything he touches, as far as Cap goes, is solid work. Great writing. Puts a lot of thought into Captain America. Makes the man out of time thing sort of kind of go away, and makes Captain America more of a deep character. And what he's doing with Bucky Cap too. This whole can I live up to the mantle of Captain America? Should I do I have what it takes? Very good stuff. Awesome stuff. Ed Brubaker is definitely influential as far as Captain America goes, and I hope he continues on with more influential work throughout either Marvel or DC. It doesn't really matter. Hopefully with Marvel as far as more characters go, but if he goes to DC too, I hope he continues such great work in there as well. Next writer up is Grant Morrison. Now Grant Morrison did Final Crisis a couple years back. Now, granted, a lot of people didn't like Final Crisis, but he is a very influential character. Not character, but influential writer. Um, he just writes great stuff. Final Crisis to me, from what I read from it, wasn't bad. Granted, I didn't really know much about the DC universe, but he did provide a standard, not necessarily standard. He provided a question: why should Flash always be killed off? He kind of took the status quo of a crisis event and made it his own. He also brought the idea of bad guys running the show in a comic series or a comic event, much like how Bendis is doing right now with Dark Reign. But he was the first to do it. As far as this decade goes, it was a great idea, which is setting the standard in Marvel right now, and that's why I think he deserves to be on this, is because he makes great ideas, he does great writing, and I think he should be very, very helpful in establishing more superhero stories in the next decade or so. The last writer on this list is Matt Fraction. Now, he hasn't really done anything hugely influential, but he is definitely doing a great job in Invisible Iron Man right now. He's made, basically, he hasn't made, we haven't seen Tony Stark like this since Demon in a Bottle, where he just at his lowest point. He's made more human. He's not this flamboyant playboy where he's been throughout these years. He's basically broken down Tony and made him so humble and so unlike the Tony Stark that we know. He just made him basically incredibly lovable, and you just feel for the guy. After the whole Civil War and Secret Invasion stuff like that, a lot of people hated Iron Man for that. But now he's brought back Iron Man, as far as everything goes, more human, not as invulnerable as invincible as we thought he was, and as what he thought he was, and just made him more accessible to the average reader. So definitely Matt Fraction is someone to look out for the next decade as far as influential writers go. So I hope you enjoyed this list. If you have any disagreements or any other people who you think are great writers, write in the comments below. I would love to see who you guys think are great comic writers. And I can't wait for this next decade to happen, to see who are influential writers in the next decade. And yeah, so see you guys soon. Talk to you guys later.